Hello everybody, Jen from Scrapping Under the Influence. I am here today with a design team project for Doodlebug Design using their brand new Farmhouse collection. So many years ago, when I very first started making mini albums, I had done a barn-shaped mini album with Doodlebug on the Farm. Literally, still to this day, one of my absolute favorite projects of all time. So there we are, just so we can kind of see size side by side. So back when I made this, I was still really new to mini albums. I think this was maybe the second or third that I'd done from scratch that was my own design, that I wasn't following somebody else's tutorial. Actually, I think it might have been the second, which is insane to think about. But in the years since this one was made, and it's got a lot of fun elements, but like it's just the construction is not as good as it is now. Okay. So I've said all along I need to make myself a second one, knowing more what I know now. And I probably have enough of this paper in my stash to actually do that. But then this came out, and I said, I'm going to do an updated version of the barn. So that's what I did. So this one is using the new barn cut file from Lori Whitlock. Everything in this is the tutorial. I walk you through how I manipulated the file in Design Space to make it easy to assemble into an album. This one actually was very conducive to doing that just because of how it's shaped. I know on the original barn I had to do some trimming off of some pieces that stuck out. The only thing off of this file that I removed is there was like a haystack over here on the right hand side that was just making it too wide to be able to cut. So that's what I did. So let's take a walk through. So on the cover, of course, this is all cut and pieced. I was going to use smaller animals just because scale was kind of not what I typically would do, but they were so cute. I couldn't resist. And we have a goat on the roof because initially, and there's only one goat in the odds and ends pack. This I actually pulled from a second pack. I was sending a picture to my friends and I'm like, okay, I'm like, what do you think? I'm like, I don't think the goat's staying on the roof. And they all unanimously voted the goat needed to stay on the roof. And at that point I had already glued the goat down here. So I had to dig into my other set of odds and ends and pull out a second goat. So we'll pretend he's not here and I only used one goat, but it's okay. Anyway, so yeah, this is all cut and pieced from the SVG file. I go through how to do that entirely in the tutorial, how to make the base of the album, the pages, and the elements in the album. The matting, yeah, you can figure out on your own. Some of it I do on camera just because there are certain places that needed to be matted in order for them to get done. Okay, so it opens up really wide, which is awesome, actually. At first, I was kind of like, oh, it's too wide. It's actually not. It's perfect. So first up, let's look over here. So this would be the back of the actual barn. We have a frameless shaker here. This is a shaker method that I designed, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. I used this when I did the huge shaker on my Hometown USA album, and I do show you how to do this. The other two that are in here, I don't show you those specifically. I had done those as a demo as part of a virtual retreat for a store and wasn't about to let them go to waste. They needed to get used. So we've got a pocket with a belly band up top to hold everything still, and then just a couple of 4x6 inserts here. Super easy. You can actually hang them onto the belly band if you want to. I'm just going to tuck them down in there. So when we get on the other side, this is another one of my frameless shakers. This one was done actually on a tag and then attached inside the book here because this was one of my demo ones. So this little guy I used to cut apart inside. This one I actually just use some of the icon stickers, and then I've got a couple of the this and that stickers on the outside and shape sprinkles. This is from the Chit Chat. When you open it up, we've got a couple of pictures 4x6 picture spots there. You could put another one there. You've got picture space there. Each one of the pages has a 4x8 tag inside that just very basic matting. I didn't do any decorating beyond that because they will be a good spot for pictures. Over here we've got double belly bands, and we've got a nice little booklet here that I have pieced and added some of the cut aparts and things to. This element is actually directly from my original barn album, so I've got a little accordion pocket here that actually sits on top of a flap. So I added a second flap in there, lots of space in here for pictures. Again, we've got our tag. All of these tags are identical, with matted with petite prints. Here we've got just a layout page. I've used a couple of the pieces from the bits and pieces, the border from the bits and pieces, and then of course a couple of Doodle-Pops. I love this shaker pop. And then of course the little barn album, and those are on top of the bits and pieces elements. And yeah. Next up, we've got some more pockets. These I used the tags from the one tag cut apart, large tag cut apart sheet, because I absolutely love this. They're great for journaling. You can put pictures on them. However, and then I've just added some little elements down here, and that one clearly is getting caught on something. That's okay though. So back here, I've got another one of the frameless shakers on top of a tag. This one, I've actually got a magnet on the back to hold this flap closed, because this was the one during my demo that I got carried away with my shaker fill and I hid my chicken inadvertently. See, it's too full. You can't see his little head. But that's okay, because then I just added an odds and ends piece and some of the shape sprinkles on top. And this just opens up and you've got picture space in there as well. And then that snaps on there to hold it closed. And then over here we have the adorable flannel acetate, fall flannel. I don't remember the actual name of it. I'm drawing a blank. Acetate accordion pocket. I've got an odds and ends piece and a border strip on here. And then I've got two just basic 4x6 photo mats and one more little booklet with the chicken. So, and those just slide right down in there. So there we go. That is the brand new updated barn album. This will stand up for display on a shelf just like so. As you can see, the inside there is fairly chunky, but it's actually not as hard to put together as you would imagine. So, tutorial will start next. As always, thank you for watching. If you like this, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when I post new tutorials. And if you end up making this or any other project of mine, please tag me at Scrapping Under the Influence on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And let's get into it. Okay, so here is the new barn with the Farmhouse collection. So this is available on Lori Whitlock's shop at shop.loriwhitlock.com, and then go under the Doodlebug SVGs under Designer. So this has a lot of parts, like way more than the last one had. So we are going to do some editing. First thing I'm going to do is get rid of the pumpkins, because there are pumpkins in the odds and ends. We do not need to cut these pumpkins at this time. If I decide the ones in the odds and ends pack aren't the right size and that's not what I want, then I can come back and cut those at a later time. So next thing we need to figure out is, okay, so right now, as big as it is on my screen right now, it is sized 13.472 inches wide, 9.42 inches high, which is too big to cut on a 12 by 12 mat. The widest we could go on a 12 by 12 is going to be 11.5. Okay, so that makes it 8 inches high, which it would be 8 inches to the top of the silo here. The barn itself is going to be, if it wants to pull up a basic shape for me, if I were to take it across the barn here, The barn is 5.5 by 5.5, which is a little on the small side, which is fine. We could absolutely do it that way. It's not a big deal. We could also, rather than use that one, we could, I don't know why, it is something weird with design space that it doesn't like pop it back to the one that it should. Okay, so this would be our next one we could do instead of doing the barn. So the farmhouse gives us a few more options, but the barn is so stinking cute. That's what makes this hard. Okay, so if we were to take the barn and edit the file some more, let's see here. If we took off, if we figured out how to get rid of this little silo. Nope, undo, undo, undo. Don't really want to do that either. Okay, so in that case, I think what we need is to duplicate this. We need to just separate this out. So what I am going to do is I am going to ungroup this whole thing. And I'm going to move that out of the way because that is just our base layer that if we were just cutting this to cut this, that it would be its own piece. Okay. So let me move these little fence pieces because we may have to do something different with those as well. So basically, I can take this which, hold on, something's weird here. Oh no, it's 8 inches high and 11.5 wide, so it is only 8 inches high. That I was like, why is my barn so small? It's because it is 11.5 inches wide. So that's a little bit easier to fix. So again, I'm going to ungroup. I'm going to take these little pieces because they're very cute, but at the moment, they are making this a little bit harder to kind of manipulate. Okay. So we are going to move these pieces. When we do that, then this is now 9 inches wide. So that cuts like almost 2 inches off. Okay, almost 10 inches wide. So it cuts almost 2 inches off of this. So if I take this, I highlight everything to keep my sizing the same. I can drag this a little bit more and see what we're at now. Now we're at 10.5. Okay. Drag it just a little bit more. Now we're at 10.88. Just a tiny bit more. 11.3, I'll take it. Okay. So now this base piece, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it. And then I am going to weld it. So this will now be our base. We are going to take out, no, we want that. We don't want these other weird little lines that are there for some reason, just because of how things are layered on the piece itself. Okay, so this is going to be our new base. And this is what the back of the book is going to be. So this is going to be our back cover. So there is a way on here to, or did they take that away? There was a way to, aha, there we go. Okay, so we are going to group those two pieces together. So now we know, no, undo, don't do that. Picked up more than I wanted. Okay. All right, so this we're going to group because that's going to be our back cover. So we would cut that up out of chipboard and then like twice out of cardstock to mat it. Okay, so that much is good. Now we want to separate out the barn itself. Except I missed the little chimney there. From the silo. So here's our barn. We are going to copy. We're going to paste. And then we are going to weld. Okay. I come in here. I'm going to get rid of these little random lines. And then we are going to go front cover. We are going to set this to guide. This way we know that that's our front cover. Okay. Next is going to be this. We're going to do the same thing. Copy, paste, weld, and then do the same thing again. So we're going to, okay. So now we've got our base pieces. So this will be our back. This will be our left side cover. This will be our right side cover. So this will open. In fact, if we wanted it to open exactly like my last barn, all we would have to do is take this entire thing. In fact, maybe let's do that. And we are going to flip it horizontally. Oh my God, what did that do? That didn't work the way it's supposed to. So why? Oh no, 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 no. Okay, that is crazy. Why is it doing it that way? Okay, that's just weird. Okay, we're not going to do that. Okay, so what I was saying, this will open to the right, this will open to the left, and then this will be our base. Okay, so we will have a spine piece over here. We'll have a spine piece over here, which we could actually have this piece open towards the bottom since this bottom of this is nice and flat. And it would open down, and then this would open to the side, and then you'd have your pages attached to the spine over here with the silo. Okay, so we've got a couple options here. Okay, so our fence pieces are fine. We don't need to do anything with those. Our barn pieces, it's going to be a lot of pieces, okay, because it's going to cut each one of these lines separately, okay, which is fine. Overall, this is not terrible. This isn't going to be like where you've got a zillion little tiny pieces that you don't know what to do with. So this is manageable. So I'm going to save this. Farmhouse barn album. Okay. So if I were to pretend I'm ready to make this, let's see how many mats. 17 mats. That isn't bad, truly. Okay, so Cricut, of course, will group everything by color. And you can always kind of come in here and play with this. If you have something that you don't quite like where it's putting it, you can always come in and change it. So like this piece that's the top of the little chimney thing and the scallops on the roof are just slightly different shades of gray. What I would do is probably move one of these to the other sheet so they're both cutting out of the same color. We've got our coral, we've got our craft, which that I would use, I would most likely move these around and I would cut this out of a 6x6 wood grain petite print since it's fence. Okay, so I would do that. That's going to be our base for our hay, and then our like our haystack corns. I don't know if it was hay or corn. Anyway, here's our barn pieces. Here is all of the shiplap siding pieces for the barn. There is the rest of this. So this is not going to be a bad cut. Okay. So what I would do now, so I've looked at this, I've gone, okay, this is good. We can live with this. I'm going to cancel. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to say, okay, I need 2 of these. So I'm going to duplicate it. Actually, I need 3 because I need one that's going to be chipboard. So I'm going to change it to a totally different color. Why? Oh, is it really not? Okay, never mind. We're gonna change our color to this darker brown. So this is gonna be chipboard. We're gonna make 2 copies of this one. Ungroup it. And we're gonna make this the dark brown so that we know this is chipboard. Okay. Our base matting pieces, so the pieces that we're going to put to cover that chipboard, I'm not sure what we're gonna do. Another thing on this that's going to be different than when I did my original farm album. I did shaped pages in that, which were adorable. But oh my lord, they waste so much paper, so much unused paper with that. So we are not going to do shaped pages. We are going to do basic pages, and then we'll do all of our little decorative elements on them at that point. So now I've got my chipboards, my basic cardstock pieces, which once I decide what color I'm making those, did I not cover? Oh no, there they are. Okay. I can come in here and change these all to the same color so that I don't accidentally cut one thinking it's going to be like the base of the silo or something when it's really not, if that makes sense. So, the little fence pieces and whatnot that were hanging off the side of the barn, so they come up like this on the barn. We're probably going to slide these over and like attach them in here or use them somewhere else. So for now, I'm probably just going to actually hide all of those because I don't know that I'm going to use them. Because they do kind of hang off the side. However, what we could do if I decided to go ahead and use those is we could cut them out of lightweight chipboard. So even though they are kind of hanging off the side there, they're still going to be okay. So this one we can go ahead and cut because this one, whoops, don't do that. I'm actually going to group this again so I can move it around. Same thing with this one. No, move you over. Okay, because this we can actually, once this is all like set back together, this one we could actually put on top of the end of the barn here, which then if we really wanted to, we could take that other piece of that little hay piece that was on the other side here, and we could move it and use it. Okay, what on earth happened here? Okay, why is it letting me? Okay, I'm not sure what happened. It's fine. It's going to cut the way it needs to cut. It's just acting up on me at the moment, which is fine. Okay, so I'm going to save this again, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut this, and I'll be back. Okay, so the one thing I forgot and to have you do is we need a matting layer for these three. Okay, so this will be, we need 2 of this one, and we want it to be slightly smaller, so I'm going to do offset. Okay, only I want it to be a negative offset. No, I love when it just doesn't want to. Actually, I'm going to go a negative 0.125. Actually, I want to fix one weird little thing first. So on the base here, it was trying to like put this little notch that undo, because somehow I just picked it up with that, which I did not mean to do. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let's try that one more time. We'll do our offset. Okay, so you see how up here it doesn't like cut in now? That's what we want. Okay, so I want 2 of those. Okay, so a front and a back. So I could mirror one so that I know for sure that that goes on the back side, but you can just flip your paper over. That also will work. Okay, so let's fix it on this one too. Okay, then we'll do our offset. Okay. And on this one, I am going to mirror it because we only need one of these. And then, where'd my other piece go? There it is. We need one for this one as well. Okay. So we have, no, we only need one of those too. So we need 2 for the bigger front and back piece. We need one for the back of the silo, one for the back of the house. Okay. So I am going to go ahead and cut these, and we will work on building our base. Okay, so let's go ahead and build our barn. So we're going to start with our little silo. And for this whole process, you're going to want fine tip glue bottle. You're probably going to want tweezers, especially if you have fake nails like I do. Some of these little pieces can be a bit tricky in that case. So the color layers are going to go right on top of your extra black layer that you cut. Okay. And these are not going on to the chipboard just yet. You're just going to get these assembled and out of the way. I'm still kind of deciding. So when I had done my original version, with On the Farm. I did a lot of elements that, while cute, were, I don't know. I have to decide. So when I had done my original barn album, I had cut all of these little details we're getting ready to assemble here for both the front, the back, the inside. Like, it was crazy. And I don't believe I'm going to do that because it makes decorating on the inside a little bit difficult. And it's incredibly time consuming. Not that that's a bad thing, okay? Because it's absolutely not, but okay. All right, so there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So these are going to be kind of like not exactly what you think they're going to be. They do not go straight across exactly. They're kind of graduated. So your best option is going to just be to have your file pulled up on the computer so you have it to reference back to. Trying to decide if these are all, that one's shorter. Okay, I think we're going like that. So these bottom 4 are all very similar in size, and these top 2 are the same size. So this is where I'm talking about the tweezers will be your friend, so that you are not ending up with glue all over your hands. Okay. So if you've ever paper pieced before, worked with one of the Doodlebug cut files, this should not be anything too new. We're just going to try and space these fairly evenly. Won't be perfect by any means, but that's okay. Okay. All right, and the last one. Okay, so there's our silo. We can set that one to the side. Next up is going to be the actual barn itself. So this one has a lot more pieces. So there's a whole bunch in here. I still can't figure out where this one goes. Because that's just how this goes sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to start out super easy. I am going to start with this little chimney piece up here at the top, I think. No, I'm not. I am going to start with my white base, because this is going to go just exactly on top of the black. Okay. Then I can put the little chimney piece on. Actually, chimney. I don't know why I keep saying chimney. Like the little, my gosh, what do they call those? My mom's got one on her shed at home. Uh, Cupola? I think that's what it is. All this is missing is like a weather vane. But thank God there isn't one because that would be like super tiny to cut. That would not be fun. I can tell you that right now. Okay, let me find. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I'm staying in frame, but I can also see my file in design space so I know where I'm lining stuff up and putting it down. Okay. And then there is this super tiny like wedge that goes over here, about like that. Like tiny. There are a couple of pieces that are actually even smaller than that one, but thankfully not a ton that are super tiny. Ah, that's where that one little gray one goes. I'll bet you anything. Except it's long. Why is it that long? It's got to go there. That's the only thing that makes sense. We're going to hang on to that one for a minute. Oh, no, that doesn't go there. It would be this little teensy white piece in here. There we go. Okay. So that little corner's done. We've got this that's going to slot in right here. You can see exactly where it goes. Okay. And we have a roof piece. Okay, so then this is going to go up and around the top. So you'll see, like right here doesn't totally match. That's because this is going to cover it. Okay. Having played with Doodlebug SVG files for many, many years, they honestly just keep getting better and easier to work with. Okay, so there is that piece. We've got another white piece that goes right here. Now, the trickiest piece of this whole section, actually, let's go ahead and, no, we don't want to do that yet, is going to be this little scalloped roof piece because it is very, very thin and very, very detailed. It is so cute when it's on, but this is going to be one of those cases where I'm going to, hold on, let me, we're going to do this a little bit differently. Okay. So glass mat. That's probably more glue than I need, but what I'm going to do is just very quickly try and this is where, thank goodness, art glitter dries clear, because it is, of course, understandably, pretty much everywhere. Okay. But that went down easier than if I had tried to hold it and go at it with the fine tip glue bottle and get glue on every little piece and part. This was messy, but I can easily clean that up and we're good to go. Okay. And that is all the way down, everywhere it needs to be, and it was that easy. That's probably the most intimidating piece of this whole thing. There are, let me get all these little teensy pieces out of here. Okay, so there are two incredibly small like cross pieces, I guess, that go up here on this chimney. And the nice thing, especially with these top pieces, and it'll be the same when we do these up here, you can kind of tell by their size and shape where it is they need to go. Okay, like so. All right, so then let me get the ones that go on this side here. So this one, you've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pieces. I believe these are all the same size. Maybe not. They're all close. I know that much. Okay. These are going to be, if I can like not drop it, fairly straightforward because they're just going to go on this side here, spaced about like we did for the little silo pieces. A little bit closer together, but you get the basic idea. And with the exception of that top one, the rest of these are all the same. So nothing too earth-shattering here. And I still have glue on my hands, apparently, because now these are sticking to my fingers. Is anybody here surprised by that? Because I know I'm not. Okay. Okay, last one of these. And I very much appreciate that. So we have this little window that goes on here, that we didn't have separate pieces that are going on either side of that window, because that would be a whole lot of tiny pieces to keep track of. And we don't want to do that. Okay. So this one is just going to go on top of there, just like that. And then down. Okay. Let's do this. So this is going to go on here with just a very slight border up and around. Okay. So this one, the pieces that go on it are going to be all different sizes. Okay. So your best route to go on this is going to be to kind of take and lay them out approximately where they go, which these all have like a little notch up here at the end. So you can kind of tell where they go based on how they line up on top of the space. Okay. And by going through and getting these kind of lined up and placed where they need to go, it's going to make gluing them down that much easier. Okay. Okay. Of course, they don't want to stay where I want them to stay, but that's okay. All right. So I'm actually going to start with this middle one because there is one that goes right up the middle. Okay. Yeah, I think that is working better. I really kind of thought, oh, these are longer. I can just pick them up. But truly, that does work way better. And try to get them as straight as you can. They're tiny. They're going to want to move on you. They may not go on here perfectly, but you know what? It's fine. Okay. Okay. We're getting there. Okay. So as we do this, this is why I'm saying I don't know that I'm going to go through and do this kind of detail on the inside and on the back side. Similar to what I did on my original barn album, because as you can see, this is time consuming. It takes a lot of paper. It is so cute, but I don't know if I want to go through and do that on the entire inside of the book as well, where I'm having to do this exact step like 4 separate times actually. Okay. We have our bottom piece. And again, you're just going to line it up underneath. So you've got that little bit of a white border. And then these are, let's see, I'm not sure if these are the same size. I don't think they are. No. Okay, so okay. All right. So they are different lengths, so you will need to kind of look at them and assess biggest to smallest. That's probably the one thing between the Cricut and the Silhouette, aside from the fact that Silhouette will not cut chipboard, which just makes me absolutely crazy. When you're cutting something like this, where on the project itself it's all like laid out and it will cut it in the layout that it is on the screen, but then you end up wasting a bunch of paper because then it again cuts it in the layout that's on the screen. So instead of all of these little strips cutting in like a 6 by 4 inch square, essentially, they're going to be spread out exactly like they are here. So there is that, but because it won't cut the chipboard, I am not using the Silhouette for this project as much as I would like to, because honestly, it's much better than it used to be. But that's okay. Okay. The rest of this is super easy. Okay. So we have our barn door. So we have a white square. This is going to go inside. And what I'm actually going to do, rather than try to stack that all together and glue them all separately, what I'm going to, or glue them together and then glue them down, I'm going to go ahead and put my frame down. Like so. I can put the little wood piece down. Like so, and then we can put our actual little door frame on the top rather than fighting with all of that and trying to do it all separately, which is typically how I would have done it, but again, I've been doing this kind of thing for long enough now. I've learned, sometimes you make it harder on yourself without realizing it until after the fact. So, trying to save you guys some of that headache. Okay, so there's that. Now, up here, we do need to put this together before we actually glue it down up here on the top. So these little light gray pieces go behind for the shutters. I'm just putting glue on that little X, because then the whole thing will get glue when we put it down on the book itself. Okay. Okay, that's going to go up in here. Okay, I'm not going to put my little hay thing on yet because I will add chickens in here when we go to actually like put this on for the final final cover. I know what I'm trying to say, I promise. I have no idea where this piece goes unless I cut two of them. Oh no, maybe they just layer up right there to kind of give that some dimension. That's what we're going to do. Okay. All right, so we have our pieces assembled. This will be one side, this will be the other, and then the book will open like this. Okay. So I'm going to set these along with our fence pieces that we haven't done anything with yet because I'm not sure if we're going to use them. I cut them, but I don't know. So I'm going to set all this aside and then get our hinge and whatnot together, and I will be right back. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our spines. First spine is going to be, so 2.5 by 6.25 inches. Cardstock to wrap this is going to be, I probably just need to stop this and start completely fresh. Okay, there we go. 8.25 by 5.5, which, so the chipboard is 5.5 by 2 5/8. So your cardstock is going to be 7.5 by 5 5/8. Okay. So again, because it is a spine, we're going to do 1 inch and 1.5. Some days my brain just does not do math well, particularly if it's been a work day. Okay. All right, so we are going to wrap these like we do any normal hinge. So I am going to take my bone folder, go around, find my chipboard. Okay. And on here. Right, so then I'm going to fold over and over and burnish. Over and burnish. Over and burnish. We're going to do that on both pieces. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and miter, apparently by throwing it across our desk. So I'm going to cut from the chipboard out. And then okay, like so, and then repeat on the other piece. Now, the reason there is a difference on the width and on the height is completely dependent on where these are going to go in our book, okay? So, the one that is slightly wider, I'm sorry, yeah, short but wider is going to go on the end that's going to overlap onto the other. So, this is going to go on our silo side, this is going to go on the barn side, okay? However, before we do that, we've got our chipboard. So this is how our cover goes together. So we'll open up like this and like this. And then this is, of course, our chipboard back. So what we want to do, because these two are where our barn and our silo that we already assembled are going to go. Okay. So we don't want to, we need to mat the back side. Okay. So I have black cardstock that is cut to the same size. I used the black chipboard, so if I decide I don't want to run twine or something around to finish off that edge, I don't have to because it will blend in with the black cardstock. Okay. So there's one. This is the top. Okay. And then we want the back side of this one as well. All right. So lay this one down like so. So this is our front. And then of course we've got our base piece here, and we're going to do our chipboard, our cardstock front and back on this one. Okay. That's the piece for the other side. Okay. All right. Turn it over, get the other side. Make sure you've got your cardstock facing the right way so you're not putting glue on the wrong side, because I have done that before. Okay. So this will line up right on top of your chipboard, and then just burnish it down. All right, so this is going to be the back inside cover. This is going to be the back of the book. So the back of the book, I can go ahead and just do my offset layer that we cut, or that I showed just a minute ago, and glue this one on directly, because this one will go on this way regardless. We have to mess with the inside ones just a tiny bit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get my glue on there. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and do our spine pieces. Get these wrapped really quick. Okay, so on your ends, you can do this with just glue. I like I've said before, like a combination of tape and glue. So we can wrap our ends. Okay, so going to put glue along the edge of the chipboard, push up against the edge of the chipboard, over, and burnish it down. Again, up against the edge of the chipboard, over, and burnish it down. Okay, do that on both pieces. Down, and again. Okay, so this is where this is going to get a little bit trickier. First things first, though, we want to go ahead and burnish along the edge of our chipboard and work that cardstock down over the spine. Okay, so after, before. And you can see when you do that, it really defines where the spine is. Okay, so the matting for this is going to be the collage paper. Okay, however, we don't want to glue this down yet. What we need to do is take our taller spine that is going on this side, and this one will be okay because this one we can go almost out to the edge with it, because this does curve out slightly, but we can go almost to the edge with this. So this side of it is fine. We're not going to have to do anything extra to this side. Okay. The other side, however, is going to line up basically where this comes straight down. Okay. So it's going to be right along there. So what we need, and honestly, I might have cut this just right that it'll be okay. I can hang on to my stupid thing. What we're going to have to do, and I think it will work just fine, what we'll end up doing is cutting where we've got this little straight part right here. We'll put it in the trimmer, so we're cutting off this end, and then we will glue it down on this outside edge after we've got this assembled. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to start with this piece. Okay, the smaller of the two pieces, or the taller piece, with the smaller front cover piece. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and put glue on one side. I'm sorry, tape on the ends. Okay, I am going to line this up and kind of get a visual of where this is going to go. Okay, I'm going to do it standing up so that the bottom of the barn and the bottom of the hinge are flat against the desk. Okay, when you do that, see if I can, you'll see there's this slight bulge on the silo itself, which is supposed to be there. but that's what we're trying to stay to the side of, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on my hinge. I'm going to hold it back. Make sure I've got the side with the cardstock towards the hinge. And then line it up. And attach it. Okay. So this should be nice and straight. So now for this other side, we can do the exact same thing because we know this goes to the bottom. It goes to the bottom. That way it'll go to the bottom over here. And we'll do the same thing on this other side to attach it onto the base. Okay. So we know that that's going to go flush with the bottom. And there we go. Okay. I have a piece of cardstock that is 6 1/8 inches high and 7 inches wide, that the back has been covered in tape. And we are going to go ahead and put that down to reinforce this. And I actually have like a little strip right in the middle that doesn't have tape because, of course, my tape was not straight going down, which is fine. But because this is our reinforcement piece, we do not want this to lift at all. Okay, so this is going to go on here, just like so. And then we will burnish it down. Okay, then we can fold it up and pinch. And there we go. There's one side. Lines up exactly, which is what we want. Now we can do the other side. Okay, for the other side, again, this is going to attach to the cardstock side. So you want to make sure you're going to line this up right. This time, we need tape on our edges. This time we're going to start on this piece. So I will get the backing off of that. And get my glue down. Okay, so this time I'm going to fold it in. I'm lining up this outside edge with this little notch right here. Okay. This will go all the way to the bottom. Like so. Okay. So you can see it's right up to that edge. And you've got just this little tiny bit sticking out. Okay. Which is fine. This is small enough that when this opens and lays flat, it's not going to touch the other side. If it was going to touch the other side, we would have modified the file a little more to ensure that that didn't happen. But this one is actually totally fine the way it is. Okay, so then to put the other piece down, it's going to be the same basic idea. turn it sideways. I was like, how am I going to hold this? Okay, pushing that down, lining up at the bottom. All the way out to the edge. Okay. And then burnish it down. And then I've got my piece to reinforce this. This is 7 inches by 5 3/8. And this one I had better luck with my tape. I didn't have to fight with it quite as much. Okay. So that's going to go down like so. And then we will burnish this down, fold it over, and again, pinch. Okay, so now I can take my pieces for the back. So this one is going to go in here. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that one in. Okay. I forgot to cut my matting for my hinges, but that's okay. All right, so this is where I'm talking about. Let me just show you this really quick. How this one's 1/8 of an inch wider than this one. It's because the way it's going to sit like so to close, where this overlaps on here, that's why we want it that way. And before I forget, we need magnets. Okay, so I am going to close this up, figure out where's my pencil? Okay, so this is closed, this is closed. I'm going to mark where that overlaps on the front. And I'm going to mark approximately, not exactly, where it overlaps on the back. So one piece is going to go up here. Although, before I do that, I want to double check and make sure I'm getting them far enough over that you're not going to see them. Okay, so this one's going to go up here. Okay. I am using bigger magnets for this to make sure they're nice and strong, that this will hold, mostly so that we can stand this up to display it if we so choose. Oops. There we go. All right. So I'll go ahead. Make sure this is going onto the right side. And same thing over here. Okay. Then I will close this up. And pinch that down to get that one. Did not want to stay where it's supposed to. Okay, so that is ready to go. So this will now close like so. We can go ahead and finish doing our matting on the inside. So this one's going to go about like so. So what I'm actually going to do on this one is cut this about right here, because this is the one that we're not going to have another piece that we need to attach down, because this will go in like so. Okay. Backing off of our tape, and go ahead and drop that matting down. Okay, there we go. Our centerpiece, like I said, we're going to line this up, and I'm going to cut well, before I actually cut that, let's just double check. What I'm doing is I'm laying this about where it truly is going to get glued down, and then I'm just feeling for where this is going to bend up and over. Okay, so it did need to go over a little further than what I was anticipating, which is fine. But now I know for sure where it needs to go, and I can cut off just that little piece, and then I can glue this one in. Okay, so then this piece I will go ahead and just put on this outside edge, because it will line up exactly where we had to cut that off. And there we go. See? Not too bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut our matting for our two spine pieces. I should hopefully be able to get those out of this piece that is left over from cutting the matting there. So I need 2.5 by 5 3/8 over here. Let's see how tall. I believe I am going to have to dig into the scraps, unless. Okay, so 6 1/8, and then 2 3/8. Okay, so there's that piece. And this one would be, that shouldn't have been 6 3/8, was it? What did I do? No, 6 1/8, that was right. Okay, sorry. Okay, so that's good. No, not quite. Okay, so let's go 2.5. Oh, just barely. Look at that. Holy crap. That was kind of cool, actually. I was not expecting that. I could have almost gotten it out of that one, but not quite. So that's good. All right. Finally, something worked without me fighting. Yep, I'll be just fine. Okay, so there's that piece. There's that piece. Now, I am not going to put my other two pieces on the front of this just yet. I'm going to wait until we're done with the inside before I do that, just so that they're not getting moved around and, run the risk of tearing something up inadvertently. 5.5 wide. We want to go 6 inches high. I think I said 6.25, didn't I? That was wrong. 6 inches high. Okay. Okay. 1/2 inch. 1 inch. 1.5. 2. 2.5. 3. 3.5. 4. 4.5. 5. Okay. Let's see if this one wants to play nice. So we're going to start here and fold and burnish. Go here, fold and burnish. I think I am going to go through and pre-fold this because clearly I am having some issues today. Okay, come over here. Okay. All right, much better. That's going to work much better. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll start gluing in the middle again. And apparently getting glue everywhere is a requirement because that's what I keep doing. Okay. Oh, that was way too much glue. You saw how much popped out the end there. Oh my gosh. That was a lot. But guess what? It held. Oh. Okay. So again, not as much out this time. That was better. Okay. All right, and we'll get our ends. Again, from the middle out. Okay, one more. Okay, there we go. We have a hinge, finally. That was much harder than it needed to be. Okay, so open this up. Our hinge is going right over here on this side. Okay, so I am just going to center this up. Let's put glue on the side we're supposed to be putting it on. I doing? Okay, so let's work on our pages. So you'll need 4 page bases that are 8 by 12. You're going to score those at 6 inches so that they fold in half, because this is going to be a very simple page style. You don't have to do a lot of piecing or anything like that. It's just, this is it. Okay. So all of my page bases are done. I've got some matting figured out, but not all of it. So first page, front of page 1, and I'm going to go ahead, well, no, I'm not. Because, well, yes, we're going to try something. I don't normally build the pages and then put them in, but I think I'm going to do it this time just because I just think I'm going to. Okay, so first up, so all of my page bases, I actually scored them at 6 inches before I cut them because I'm using those little 4 by 12 cutoffs in a couple of different places here. So we need one piece 4 by 12 that is scored at 6 inches, okay? And then you need a piece that is 6 by 5.5. With the 5.5 at the top, you're going to score it 1/2 inch. We're going to go ahead and miter that. Okay, there is our base. I'm going to fold and burnish. Okay, that's going to go to the left side. I'm just going to use my scoreboard to help line that up. Okay, and then we need actually a set of magnets. Figure out where mine went. Okay. So one of them is going to go on the back side of this flap. Okay, and then we need to mat this before we can put the other one on. So I'm going to use the super cute fall trees. So this is 5 7/8 by 7 7/8. So any of your page base matting, if it's covering the entire page, that's what it's going to be. Or if you want it with a little bit wider border, you would go 5 3/4 by 7 3/4. It is up to you. I always think, oh, I'm going to use the wider border, and then I default to this like in one place, and then I'm like, well, now it has to be consistent. Okay. All right, so like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my second magnet. Actually, no, not yet. I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Okay, so we want it to open to the right. And I'm just going to center this and put it just slightly in, like so. So this will close down on top of this. Or you can have it close like that. Either way, honestly, will work. So I'm going to go ahead, get my second magnet ready. Okay. I'm going to open this up because I don't want it on top of the flap because then it's going to kind of try and lift it up. I want it on the base. Okay. So there is the front of page 1. All right, for the next piece, we are going to have an insert. This is 7 by 12. You're going to score it at 4 inches and 8 inches. And I did pre-score a lot of this just because I was having such an issue last night, like just cutting things right, that I pre-scored a bunch of it so that I could double check it was going to fit the way I wanted. So we're just going to fold that like an accordion, set that aside. And then we're going to go ahead and mat the, no, we're not, just kidding, belly bands. So I have 2 pieces that are, I believe, 1 1/4. But let me double check. So I sized these for this border strip, okay? So these are 1 1/4 because these are 1 1/8, okay? So when we put this on here, it's going to line up like so, okay? But first, we are going to score these at 1/2 inch and at 6 1/2 on both pieces. So these are 1 1/4 by 7. Okay, we'll go ahead and miter. We can fold and burnish. All right, so these are going to go, we're going to go about 1 inch in from the end. So I'm actually going to use my scoreboard so that I have that visual. Go ahead and put glue on our tabs. And then go ahead and put that down. Same thing on the other end. We're going to go 1 inch in and drop that down. Okay. So then we should be able to slide our matting underneath. There we go. Okay. And typically when I'm doing belly bands or something where I'm matting underneath something, as long as it will slide under like that, that's how I'm always going to do it. And then in this case, I am going to go ahead and put glue on the back. I don't necessarily always do that depending on what I'm sliding it under. Sometimes I'll slide it under and then lift up the end, or lift up one side and glue and then lift up the other side and glue. But because this is going under 2 of them, that's going to be a little bit harder because we do have a fair amount of open space in the middle. Oh, for crying out loud. This is why I don't do it that way. Because now it's trying to dry on me before I want it to stick down. Ah, that's why, because this side has decided to lift. The joys of glue in a dry environment, I'm telling you. Okay. Since this one clearly does not want to cooperate, we're going to try it this way. Normally that is not how I would have done that. But, okay, so this is right side up. This is ready to go. And we can go ahead and put our matting on our belly bands. So that is just the border strip cut to 5 7/8 high. Okay. And there we go. See, that's why I didn't want to have to do it that way with this one, because now it's trying to lift there in the middle. Okay, so that one will go in our book like so. Our insert we're just going to set aside because I'll mat that later off camera. That's not a big deal. Okay. Our next page base. Again, the base is 8 by 12, scored at 6 inches and folded in half. So this one, we have, let me double check myself. Yes, okay. So we've got 2 flaps, 6 by 6.5 with the 6.5 at the top. You're going to score it 1/2 inch. Got a second piece, 6 by 5.5. So with the 5.5 at the top, you're going to score it 1/2 inch. I'm going to go ahead and miter both of these. Okay. This is what's going down on the page. This one is going to attach to this. Okay. So here's our page base. Okay. This is our top. And this one is going to come over here on the right-hand side this time. Okay. This opens up. This one's going to go, actually, hold on, I have to think for a second here how I was going to do this one. I think that was where it was going. Okay. Okay, so this is going to go on the inside right here by the score line where that all connects. Okay, so it opens up this way and then this way. Okay, we are going to go ahead and add a magnet. I am going to use quite a few magnets on this just because I like them. I like, you know, just like the clean way everything closes up and so on and so forth. So okay, so I'm putting it on that outside edge, figuring out which side I need to put down on my other piece of tape. Okay, and then I'm going to close it up and burnish it down. So now that will open up like so. On top of the outside, we are doing a pocket. Let me just double check. So this is similar to an element that was in my original farm book that I'm recreating for this one. And I did this on a couple of things here. So the original farm book, like the pages and stuff in it were very, very simple. So I'm trying to kind of, keep the same general feel with this one. So you need a piece 9 by 5, 5 inches at the top. You're going to score at 1/2 inch. You're going to turn it to the 9-inch side, score at 1/2 inch, 1, 1.5, and then 7.5, 8, and 8.5. You need a second piece that is 4 by 6. With the 4-inch side at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay. So our 4 by 6 are mitering. It's very straightforward. Okay. On our pocket, with your score line along the bottom here, you are going to miter slightly along the bottom. Okay. And then again. Okay. So you can see where my score lines are on this, hopefully. So score lines here, and I took a wedge out. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. It doesn't need to be super aggressive. Okay. And then we're going to do a slight miter across the top as well. Just tiny, tiny bit. Okay. All right. So here's our base. Opens up like so. This is going on the top of this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm actually going to move my scoreboard for this one for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish. And then I'm going to fold in, out, and back in. So we're just doing a very simple accordion pocket. Out. And then back in. Okay. This is going to go down. Okay, so somehow here, I've got one side that's lined up perfectly. I've got one side that is not quite where it's supposed to be. So let's double check that. Let me kind of adjust that. Okay. Hopefully that will be enough. No, so where is... It's like right there, I think. This is why I don't do a ton of accordion pockets, because it is very hard to get them to fold exactly like you want. Okay, that's fixed. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and fold the bottom tab out over this. Okay. And glue that down. Okay. So I'm just going to hold that for a second. And the reason for this is it's an accordion pocket, but it's not meant to hold like a ton of stuff because it is sitting on top of a flap. It was more just, something I had put in the original album back when I did not know what I was doing. It was actually pretty cute. So we're doing it again. Okay. So this will go down on here like so. And then our 4x6 we'll go ahead and fold and burnish. And that's going to go like so. And then I'm going to throw another set of magnets on here. Okay. All right, one's going in there. The other one I'm actually going to drop on the top because that just makes it easier. Okay, so there we go. We've got our accordion pocket, and then this opens up. Okay, other side. On the other side of this is, oh, that's right. This was my matting for in there. Since I've got it cut, I'm going to go ahead and throw this down really quick. So I was doing most of this on Zoom last night with my friend Lynn because I was like, I cannot measure, I cannot think. So since I was sitting there talking to her and I figured out all of the rest of this, I was also going, okay, well, that page needs matting before you put the last piece on. That piece does. So I kind of was figuring out some of the base matting, of course, not like all the flaps and whatnot. Okay, so the back side of this one is just getting matted because we'll end up doing like a layout of some kind on here. I'll come back and show you that in a bit, kind of what I end up doing, but it's going to be fairly straightforward. It's going to be like photo mat and then use it, you know, to be able to kind of scene build a little bit with odds and ends pieces because we don't have a whole lot else going on. Okay, so there's that. Next page set. Again, this is going to be the opposite of that other layout page. So this one is also just a layout page. So again, you have your 8x12 scored at 6 inches, folded in half for your page base. And then we're just going to mat it with the super cute leaf pattern. Between this one and the little fall trees from that first page, they're probably my two favorite prints in this entire collection. They're just so pretty. Okay, backside. Again, super simple. We are just doing a basic long pocket. So this is 3x9. We're going to score this at 1/2 inch and at 8.5 with the 9 inches at the top. Turn it and score at 1/2 inch again. Okay, and we're going to miter. So on my pockets, I miter across and cut out that bottom corner so they're not so bulky. And then miter at the top. Okay. And again. And one more. And we can go ahead and put this one down. Making sure my page is facing the right way. Okay. And since I have the matting cut, this is just the back side of the journaling cut parts. we're going to go ahead and put that on. And this one is going to go in the top part. Okay, like so. Okay. This page repeats on the opposite side. So again, we've got our page base, 8 by 12, scored at 6 inches. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the scoring and the matting. The potting, where is that coming from? I will say, in my defense, it is 8:30 on a Saturday morning. Oops. So 1/2, and then 8.5, and then 1/2 again. It's 8:30 on a Saturday, and I have not had enough coffee yet. In fact, I barely had any coffee. My coffee is basically still full. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to fold and burnish. And fold and burnish. Make sure we got our page facing the right way. And glue this one down, and then we'll add our matting. It is so rare I have matting figured out this early in the game. Usually I get the entire thing built, and then I'm like, okay, now what do I do? Okay. And then this one. And then our top. There we go. Get that one down, turn it over, and then we are on to our last element. So you need a piece 5 by 12 that you're going to score at 4 inches and 9 inches. We are going to mat this first because this is going on top of the matting. So I have used the chickens. I love the chicken paper. It is so cute. Okay, and I'm going to fold this over and burnish it down. This over, burnish it down, and then I believe it's going in this way. However, we are only going to glue on 3 sides so that the top is open as just an additional small pocket. Okay, so I am going to kind of center this up like so, and then we're going to add one final magnet set. Okay, so I'm going to go about right here. Close this up, drop the other one on top. And there we go. All right, we are ready to put our pages in. So me kind of get all of my little paper clips out of the way and bring our base back. Okay. So, like I said, this is not typically how I do this. I don't normally build the pages and decorate the pages, not decorate, but like mat the pages before I put them in. We're trying something a little bit different today. So we've got our hinge with the 4 inches, and I know in the video it kind of cuts off as I'm gluing this because I started to glue it and went, no, that's wrong. Tossed it into the trash, cut another one, did it with 5 pages, put it in, and then looked at it and was like, that's too wide. Why did I think it? Yeah, it's just been a whole thing. So then I had to pull it out and then edit to cut the video where, and this was after I'd already screwed up like 3 more hinges before this. So yeah, it's been one of those things. Okay, so I have my page spacers, my hinge spacers, that is. Okay, so these are for 1/2 inch gussets, which is what we have with this particular hinge. These are available on my shop. There is a 1/2 inch version and there's also a 3/8 inch version. So the idea behind these is these slide on top of your hinges so that when you put your pages on, you've got that perfect 1/8 of an inch gap between where your hinge actually moves and where your page attaches so that they don't go on too far. Okay. I have not tried these with decorated pages or pages that have been built. So this is going to be interesting. All right. Our page style is very simple. These are going to just slide right on from the bottom and then glue closed. Okay. So I am going to, on my page base, I'm going to get my glue. I'm going to check that I'm going the right direction and slide this on so that it's flush with the base of my spacers. Give that just a minute to dry. Okay. And yes, it will be kind of standing up. It's fine. Okay. We're going to move on to our next one. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I have not sealed off the other end of this yet because I'm honestly not sure if I'm doing these where they're top loading pages, so you could put something in the top, or if I'm going to do them side loading because we've got some space between the end of the page and our other spine, that I might actually do it that way. I think that would be, I haven't done one that way in a long, long time. But I can figure that out after I've gotten these in place. Here we go. It makes much more sense to reach around on this side instead of the other side. Okay. Ooh, that one's a heavier one. That one's not playing as nice. Okay. So I'm going to kind of, whoops, have to kind of keep an eye on that one because it's trying to lay over, which we don't want it to do just yet. Okay. I wonder if there we go. Okay. Normally I wouldn't do that, but I don't want this falling over and coming off. Okay. And then there is our last page. Okay. So now we've got those on. all I'm going to do is slide these out. Don't try to lift them up, even if I didn't have stuff on the pages. You don't want to try to slide them up and over because they can break. Okay, and I can lay this one down, can lay this one down, can lay this one down, which needs a little bit of attention here because it pulled loose, which I was afraid of because of the weight of that particular page. But the bottom held, so I don't have to worry about it like going on crooked because half of it did hold. So I'm going to hold this for a second. Not super common. Like I said, this is the first time I've used the spacers with pages that have already been built. Usually it would just be the bases only, and then I would come back through and do the rest of my matting and decorating. Okay. So now I just need to decide. I think I am going to seal up the tops so that they are side load because I think that would just be something kind of different, kind of fun. So all I'm going to do is just come in here, run a little glue like that to seal it up. If I was doing it the other way, I would just be going across that end. This, of course, does not work for every style of page. Depending on how you've built your page, that may not work. If you are doing it where they're a different size, but on this project, it works just fine. Okay. Okay. And that one goes over there. I'm so proud of myself. I got them all in the right direction. Oh, that's literally why I don't usually do it that way, because I have put them in upside down when they've been fully decorated, and then it's a mess trying to get them back out. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we have our pages. We're coming together. Okay. So I'm going to fold all this out this direction, and we're going to do our two elements on the very back. So first up, super simple. We have another shallow pocket and a belly band. So this is 9 by 3 and 3/8. Is that right? Hold on. Apparently it is, because this matting is like a weird size. Yeah, this is 3 5/8. Okay, so that's apparently what I did. So 9 by 3 and that doesn't sound right either, though. What is this? 3 1/4. Okay, that's why. Yes, it's fine. 9 by 3 1/4. Doing so well. Okay, so score it 1/2 inch and 8 1/2. Turn it 1/2 inch again. And then we have a belly band that is 1 1/8 because I am matting it with one of the border strips. Okay, this is why it's like a weird size. 1 1/8 by 9, and we're going to score that at 1/2 inch and 8 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and miter. And miter. Okay, so miter this. Okay, this one is out of the way, is going to go over here. So our pocket is going to go down here at the bottom. Okay. Let's get the glue off the inside of that. Okay. So this is going almost at the bottom and then side to side. All right, this one is going to go up above, and I believe I've got it going right there because where I did the shadow layer and there is like a little notch in on the front of the album, it's also here on this matting, which I didn't think about when I did the inside matting, at least for this piece, this specific page. So we're just going to cover it up by lining this up right above our pocket, and then it will be fine. All right, so the bottom, I'm using the back side of the border sheet. And putting that down. And then our little leaf border strip is going to go up above. And that is why I love the border strips. Like, how cool does that look? Okay. All right. Last spot. Okay. So you need a piece of the super cute buffalo check acetate that is 4.5 by 5. I have a piece of wood grain buffalo check in lily white that is 5 by 5. And then we have a base for a pocket. So this is 9.5 by 8. So with the 9.5 at the top, you're going to score at 4.5 inches. Okay. When this is folded in half, there will be a gap up here at the top. That's what we're going for here. Okay. Then going to turn it to the other side, to the 8-inch side. You're going to score it 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5, 6.5, 7, and 7.5. Okay. So now I have to figure out for sure how I did this. Okay. So just to help us out here, this is the 5-inch side. This is the 4.5-inch side. Okay. On the 4.5-inch side, wait a minute, have I done this wrong? Hold on, let me think for a second. Hold on. Because we need this to be the front. Yeah, it's too long. I knew we were doing too well for this to be right. Okay. So what we want is, yes, okay. This needs to be 8 by 5.5. That's where I've got it screwed up. Okay. All right, that makes more sense. Same scoring, so 1/2 inch here. So it would have been 5.5 by 8. So scored it 1/2 inch on the 5.5 side, and then the same on the ends like we just did. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right along that score line and right along this score line so that I'm leaving just this little tab at the bottom. Okay. All right. We're going to fold that up. And then I'm going to just make sure it's lined up. You don't really want to miter these, so you don't want them at an angle, but it's going to come in like so, out, in. Like so, okay? Same thing over here, in, out, in. Okay, so now this is going to go on the back side here. And we probably need a tiny bit off of this. So I need to do that on the big trimmer. So off of the 5-inch side, I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Because we want it to fit in here without it being like a fight. Okay. All right. So before we do that, I'm going to take my little 5x5 piece. It also needs trimmed down because apparently I can't do math. In my defense, it was late last night. So that should have been 4 7/8 by 4 7/8. And the reason I'm going with the white is because the white makes the buffalo check really pop. Okay. So I want to mat the inside of this first. I think I will do it with the buffalo check side up. Okay. All right, so now I want 3/8 inch score tape. And I want it on this tab. Okay. And then again, on this tab. Okay. So that will all fit in there. This needs to come up across the bottom. So let me lay this in, make sure it's going to sit the way I want it. And yeah, we're good. Okay, so I'm going to put it on one side first. So I'm going to get my score tape off. I'm going to line this up at the top and then fold this over and burnish it down. Okay, then that will accordion back in and accordion in. We can get the other side. And burnish it down. And then we can glue this bottom piece. Okay, there you go. That was not nearly as hard as I made it. Oh, the joy of doing this ahead of time. Okay. All right, so then this is just going to go in the middle back here, just as somewhere else to be able to put photos or whatever it is you want to save in here. And then you're still seeing that cute collage paper. So I'm going to just kind of eyeball where the center of this is going to be. About right there. And go ahead and glue this in. Where did I say? Like right there? Yes. Okay. So right there. There we go. And that's it. I will finish matting and decorating. I will come back and I will show you any other inserts, and then I will show you how I'm going to do those 2 layout pages. But that, oh, and then we need to put our barn and things on the front. So we have our silo. Let's do that really quick because we're at a point where it'll be fine. I'm not worried about getting this messed up. Okay. So those are all assembled. I still haven't put my little hay on there because I'll end up adding some things to the front of this. I might put like the little tractor out of the odds and ends. I'm going to put some chickens. I might put an animal or 2. I don't know. Haven't decided. There's a super cute like cat that may end up sitting in the top of the barn. I don't know yet. It's always a mystery until I actually start decorating how it's going to come out. Okay. There's that one. And then our barn. Okay. And there you go. Lay that flat so I can burnish it from the backside. And there it is. There is the barn. So cute. See, that's what I'm talking about. We've got a lot of space here, so I could do like bigger tag inserts that kind of stick out the end because we've got the space. I didn't want to go all the way across with the pages because they seemed like weirdly skinny if I made them that much bigger. I did try, which is why the pages were like folded and ready to go. But there we go. So that is the barn album. I'll be back with a handful of little finishing items, but that's about it. Okay, so one more little element that I'm adding in here, and I've got a couple of them in already. So this is my frameless shaker. So I did this with my Hometown USA album, the big one that had the shadow box kit in it. I had actually done this one and let me find my other one. This one as a demo for a virtual retreat a couple of weekends ago, and absolutely wanted to. Oh, that's not supposed to come off of there. That's supposed to be on here. Absolutely wanted to use them in some capacity in my project today, and decided that I was going to use the tags. And then I decided too that I needed something a little bulkier over here. So we're going to make a small one that's not a tag, that's just the little shaker element itself, that's going to go over here. So to do this, I have my 3x4 cut apart that I'm going to use, and I've mounted it on lightweight chipboard. Okay. I don't want that sentiment, the Sending You Love sentiment on there, but I love the little kitty in the basket on the bike. So I'm going to cover that up. with a chit chat piece that says happy fall y'all, and I am putting that on very thin foam tape. Okay, so to do this you need a piece of acetate that is 4.5 by 5.5. Okay, I'm going to put this in the scoreboard. You can kind of see it there. Acetate's always a hard one. Usually I can get it to glare on there very nicely so you can see, but that's probably too much. Okay, so we're just going to do it like that. All right, so we're going to score this. For scoring acetate, you really want to use a metal stylus. I don't normally use a metal stylus when I do cardstock because if you put too much pressure, it will rip through your cardstock. But in this case, that's what you want. So you're going to start on the 5.5 inch side. We are going to score at 5 inches. And you will need to hold this still. So you're going to have to put a decent amount of pressure on this as you score it to make sure it doesn't move. So 5.5 inches at the top, we're going to score at 5 inches and 4 3/4. And you want to go over that score a couple of times with your stylus. Okay. You want to start from this side and come forward as opposed to starting on the side closest to you and going across, just because it will make it easier to hold it down to score your different pieces. Okay. So on this other side, we're going to score at 3/4 and at 1/2 inch. So the cool thing, and I know I talked about this when I did it for the Hometown USA album, the cool thing about doing these borderless shakers is really you can make them any size you want. Okay. Like literally any size you want, because there's no chipboard involved other than the lightweight piece here, and depending too on where you're putting this down or what you're putting inside of it, that might not even be necessary. I just tend to do that because that's guaranteeing that it's going to be nice and stable when we put it together. Okay, so you're going to turn to the 4.5 inch side, and we're going to score at 4 inches and 3 3/4. And you'll see when you get a good score, this will try to bend up for you. That's what you want. Okay. So then we're going to go 3/4 inch, and you're going to go 1/2 inch. Okay. So this is what we have. I'm going to move this out of the way, and we are going to cut along the score lines like so. And it doesn't matter if you do it so it's running this way or it's running this way, just be consistent on all 4 sides. Okay, we're going to turn it and we're going to cut here so that this piece comes out, and then we're going to cut here so we just have our little tab. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on all 4 sides. Okay, so this is what you've got. You've got tabs here and here. And I know this is really hard to see, and I apologize. I think I actually drew a diagram of the big one, but it's the same basic idea. So before we do anything else, we're going to come in here with our 3/8 inch score tape, and we are going to put this on all 4 of our 1/2 inch tabs. Okay. All right, so we've got that. We're going to go ahead and fold over and then fold back. And then fold over and fold back to really reinforce our score line so we have our 1/4 inch gusset right here. Okay. I'm going to do this on both sides, both ends that is, and then come back and do it on this side. And this side. You're going to want to fold your tabs in at the same time. Okay. Okay. Now, you're going to take your little chipboard piece. I'm going to start on the bottom. I am putting this in the score line here, so it's going to push right up against where this is going to fold over. Okay. Ugh, if I can get a hold of my backing on my tape would be incredibly helpful. Okay, so I'm going to fold this over and burnish it down, and then I'm going to pop that back so it's standing up. Okay, like so. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do my other side, the opposite side, that is. And what I'm going to do, this is the thing, once you get to this point, you can kind of manhandle your acetate and it's not going to hurt a thing. Okay, so I'm going to make sure my tabs are folded in, and then I'll fold this up and over and secure it down. Now, the tabs. Depending on what kind of shaker fill you're using to make one of these. I'm using the, Doodlebug fill, which is fairly big. So it's not so much of a concern that it's going to leak out your ends. But if you're using something small like sequins or glitter, especially glitter. In fact, I don't know that I would do this one. You might be able to do it with glitter. I don't know. Glitter is evil and I haven't tried. It's very pretty, but it's evil, evil, evil stuff. Okay. So I am going to put my little, some of my Shades of Fall shaker mix in here. And so like this one, okay, this one I got incredibly carried away. You see how much is in here? That it was covering up my little chicken and the little chick and the sunflower. So I ended up adding things on top of it. Not that I wouldn't have added things on top of it anyway, but like you literally can't see them. My other one that's in here that's on this front page with the little squirrel, I put much less shaker fill in there. So depending on what you have inside of this, and if it's like, just like pattern paper and you're just doing this and then you're going to put something on top of it, then fill it to your little heart's content. Okay. This one, I'm going to put that, and I'm going to put a little bit of the fall flowers in there just because it is going on this this page that has flowers, and then, of course, has the leaves at the top. So I'm going to add a little bit of that as well because the two of them match together really, really nicely. Okay. So once I've got everything in, I'm going to put in. No, we're going to leave it like that. I was thinking I might add some of my little odds and ends pieces in here to kind of float, but I don't think I want to do that. I think they're going to be too big. You're going to push this down and seal the back side of that off. Okay. And there it is. Super cute. ready to go right here. And when I go to adhere this down, I'm going to put some more tape wherever the acetate is on this back side, which since this is only going part way up, I'm only going to do the tape part way up because of course I don't want to accidentally stick my pocket closed. And then I'll do glue in and around the rest of it where the chipboard is to make sure it sticks where I want it to stick and does not move. Okay. And then go ahead, center that up, and adhere it down. And there we go. Okay, so beyond that, I did also add some tags. So this is just a 4x8 piece of 100-pound cardstock that I just matted on either side with petite prints. I was like, what are they called? Poked a hole in. I'll find some ribbon or some seam binding or some tulle or something to tie in these. I may or may not add photo mats to them. I haven't decided just yet. Because honestly, like I could add, now that this is trimmed down, I could add journaling spots on here and just trim them down a little bit so they're not covering up the hole there. You know, like that one's a good one. You can add cut aparts, you can add tags, you can add pretty much whatever you want to those, as long as they're still going to slide into your page there. So I did those. Outside of that, I'm still working on matting. I have not matted this insert, and I have not matted back here because I'm not sure what I want to do, if I want to just do photo mats or if I want to do something else. There's our pocket. These are just pieces from the tag cut aparts that I trimmed down and then added a border strip here and a border strip here. I've used quite a few of the border strips. So like this border strip is the bottom half of this border strip right here. So here I've got, this was what I said was going to be kind of the layout pages. So I've got photo mats that I did double mat with the black and then the lighter orange solids from the coordinating solids pack because it just needed something to kind of make it pop. I did add Doodle-Pops here on top of bits and pieces, and then the rest of the like little flowers and hearts that came with this Doodle-Pop I did add on top of my two border pieces from the bits and pieces. Haven't finished this one off yet, but I've got my tags that are from one of the 12 by 12 papers in here that I need to still like punch holes and do something with. And then add something down here. I haven't decided what. And then here where we've got this little flip out for photos, I added a journaling spot and a cut apart. And apparently got glue where I didn't mean to. And then that's got the magnet in there. And then I've got the other the magnet is on in the back in here. And I ended up moving it from this to this so that this one sits on top there. I did add the chicken and some of the shape sprinkles on top. I may add some more to this, but I'm not sure yet. And then for the our accordion pocket back here, I did take the buffalo plaid border strip and was able to cut it and line it up exactly with the acetate, which was kind of cool. And then I added the sunflower. I've got some this and that stickers, and then we've got, of course, our last page there. Once we go to close this, and I may add some more in here, I haven't decided yet, or on here. I may add leaves. I'm not sure yet. I've got the goat here, and then I've got the little fence piece we cut. I did trim it down a little bit. We've got our horse, we've got our little puppy sitting in the mud, a couple of mice, the kitty sitting in the top of the barn, and one of the little birds. I may add some of the leaves on here. I haven't decided. And then I'm going to add this Life is Better on the Farm. I'm just not sure where I want to add that just yet. Oh, I kind of like it up there. I don't think I tried it up there. Oh, I kind of like that. Okay. So yeah, that's basically your project. I'm 90% done on this. You of course will have seen the completed project on the walkthrough at the beginning of the tutorial video. And as always, thank you for watching. If you like this project, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when I post new projects. If you end up making this or anything else that I've made for Doodlebug, please tag me, Scrapping Under the Influence, on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and also tag Doodlebug. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.